You know that tiny little SIM card in your phone? We all have one. It's how we connect to everything. But what if I told you it's also the very thing that turns your phone into a seriously powerful tracking device? Yeah, let's dig in and see exactly how that works.
Yeah, sure, its main job is to get you online, get you connected. But that is not all it's doing. Not by a long shot. It's also working in the background, tracking pretty much every move you make, logging your calls, and just watching your online habits. And the crazy part is, most of us have no idea just how much it's really doing.
So the big question is, how deep does this rabbit hole really go? I mean, what is your SIM card actually collecting on you? The answers, well, they might just freak you out a little.
All right, let's pull back the curtain on your SIM's secret life. To really get the privacy risks, you first have to understand what a SIM card fundamentally is. See, it's not just a dumb piece of plastic. It's got a unique identity, and that's the key to this whole thing.
Okay, so every single SIM card on the planet has this unique ID called an IMSI. That's International Mobile Subscriber Identity. The easiest way to think about it, it's your digital fingerprint for the entire cellular world. Every single call you make, every text you send, every bit of data you use, it's all tied directly back to your account through this one unique number. There's no escaping it.
Okay, so now that we know about the IMSI, this digital fingerprint, let's talk about the 3 biggest privacy nightmares that come with having a SIM card in your phone. This is where it gets really interesting.
First up, and this is the big one, constant location tracking. As you're just living your life, walking around, your phone is constantly chatting with cell towers, right, just to stay connected. Well, every single time it pings a new tower, it leaves behind a tiny digital breadcrumb. And over time, this creates an incredibly detailed map of your life, where you work, where you live, where you hang out, and all of it is tied directly to that IMSI. So, what happens to this super detailed map of your life? Does it just sit there? Oh no, it gets sold. Cell phone providers have been caught time and time again selling this location data to, well, pretty much anyone who wants to buy it. Advertisers, data brokers, you name it. It's a massive hidden industry, and it's built entirely on tracking us. All right, the second risk is a little more sneaky. It's about hidden communications. We're talking about secret messages being sent from your phone that you can't see, you can't intercept, and you definitely can't control.
And this is where your mind might get a little blown. Most of us think of our phone as one computer, but according to telecom expert David Allen Burgess, that's not right. Your smartphone actually has 3 computers inside it. You've got the main processor, the one running iOS or Android that you actually use. Then there's a baseband processor that handles all the cell stuff. And then, get this, the SIM card itself is its own completely separate computer system.
And here's the kicker. Those last 2 computers, the baseband and the SIM, they can talk to each other. And they can send encrypted messages directly to the cell network, completely flying under the radar of the main operating system that you see on your screen. And what's in those messages? Good luck finding out. The cell providers are notoriously secretive about it.
Okay, this brings us to risk number 3. And this one's a gut punch, especially if you think you're being careful. Even when you're using a privacy tool, like a VPN, your phone's own operating system might be undermining you.
This slide just lays it all out, and it's pretty shocking. Researchers discovered that on iPhones, a whole bunch of Apple's own apps, we're talking Health, Wallet, Messages, even Apple Music and Find My, can just send data straight to Apple's servers, completely ignoring your VPN. It's like having a secret backdoor. And listen, this isn't just an Apple problem. Android has its own versions of this. When the company that makes the operating system also controls the hardware, well, they get to make their own rules. Okay, so that's a lot of bad news. Those are some pretty serious privacy issues. So you might be asking, what's the alternative? How can you possibly stay connected without a SIM card? The answer is actually pretty simple. You just go all in on Wi-Fi. And when you go that route, you've basically got 2 main choices. On one hand, you could try to jump from one public Wi-Fi network to another, at coffee shops, libraries. It can be more anonymous, but let's be real, it's often super slow, unreliable, and a huge security risk. The other option, and the one we're going to focus on, is using a dedicated mobile hotspot. That's a whole separate device with its own SIM card that creates your own private, secure Wi-Fi network you can take anywhere. All right, let's dive into why that mobile hotspot idea is such a game changer for privacy. It's all about one key concept, separating things to get your control back.
See, by physically taking the SIM card out of your phone and putting it into a separate hotspot, you create this really important firewall. Your phone is no longer this all-in-one device that holds all your personal data and is also your direct connection to the cell network. Just that one simple change starts to solve all three of those big risks we talked about.
So here's how it actually helps. First, VPN control. If you run your VPN on the hotspot itself, there's literally no way for your phone's operating system to bypass it. Problem solved. Second, those secret messages we talked about, now they're coming from the hotspot, a device that has almost none of your personal data on it. And third, it totally messes up their ability to profile you. The data patterns are all jumbled and aren't tied directly to your main device anymore.
Now, this all sounds pretty amazing for privacy, right? But let's get real for a second. This is not some perfect, magical solution. It comes with some pretty big, real-world trade-offs you need to know about. And here's the reality check. For starters, you have to carry 2 devices now instead of 1. That's a big one. You also lose your regular cell number, so you have to switch over to using a VoIP app for calls and texts. There can also be this annoying little lag when your phone has to reconnect to the hotspot. Let's be honest, for a lot of people, this whole setup just feels, well, inconvenient.
So at the end of the day, this setup is definitely not for everyone. There's really no right or wrong answer here. It all boils down to a very personal choice, a conscious trade-off between privacy and convenience.
And that's really the question I want to leave you with. In a world that's constantly trying to collect and sell our data, how much of your everyday convenience are you actually willing to trade for a little more privacy? It's a question we all have to answer for ourselves.